Carlos Alcaraz takes the first hit in Rotterdam. The Spanish tennis player suffered a setback upon his arrival in Rotterdam, a tournament that once snubbed him and that he had skipped in recent years. Carlos Alcaraz hasn't had much luck in his return to the ATP circuit after the Australian Open, which will take place this Monday at the ATP 500 in Rotterdam. Despite being the top seed, the draw has not been kind to him, and he will debut against the opponent who eliminated him decisively in the last US Open, Botic van de Zandschulp, who will also have the home crowd on his side. If he overcomes this hurdle, he will likely face one of the most informed players at the moment, Felix Auger-Aliassime, in the second round. Auger-Aliassime is set to play his second final of the year this Sunday at the Open Sud de France in Montpellier against Alexander Kovacevic. However, these are not the only challenges the Spanish player has to deal with. On paper, he is the heavy favorite and must defeat these two contenders, as well as Holger Rune or Roberto Bautista, who could await him in the quarterfinals, and Andrei Rublev, Hubert Hurkacz, or Yuri Lehecka, who might appear on his path in the semifinals. Alcaraz's problems upon arrival in Rotterdam. The player from El Palmar has traveled to the ABN AMRO Open in Rotterdam while suffering from a severe cold throughout the past week. He also encountered an issue at Rotterdam Airport that frustrated his arrival. After rescheduling his flight an hour and a half earlier, Carlos Alcaraz found himself stuck at the airport for over an hour due to a luggage problem. The tournament organizers, as expected for their biggest star, had arranged an official car to take him to his hotel and tried to compensate him for these inconveniences with a series of gifts delivered by the tournament ambassador, Jan Koeman. The Spanish tennis player is not only the main attraction after Jannik Sinner's withdrawal, but he also returns to a tournament that once snubbed him. According to the director of the ATP Rotterdam tournament, the legendary Richard Krajicek, Alcaraz once requested a wild card when he did not yet have a ranking high enough to enter the main draw, but it was denied. Perhaps that's why he chose to play in South America for several years instead of competing in the Netherlands. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. In 2021, Alcaraz requested a wild card to play in Rotterdam. "I preferred to give it to Andy Murray," said Richard Krajicek ahead of the 2024 Rotterdam tournament. "You don't want that to happen again," saying no to the number one of tomorrow, added the former Wimbledon champion. Spain qualifies and Carlos Alcaraz has a new Davis Cup challenge. Australia, Germany, Austria, Japan, the United States, Denmark, Croatia, the Czech Republic, and Spain have already secured their spots in the second qualifying round of the tournament. 10 of the 13 places in the second qualifying round of the Davis Cup have been determined after the initial rounds of the competition, leading up to the final 8 in Bologna, Italy. After Argentina secured its victory in Oslo against Norway on Friday, 3-2, Australia, Germany, Austria, Japan, the United States, Denmark, Croatia, and the Czech Republic followed suit on Saturday. On Sunday morning, Spain joined them. It is worth noting that the second qualifying round will take place from September 12 to 14. Argentina, having defeated Norway, 3-2, in Oslo, will now face the Netherlands, last year's finalist and exempt from the first phase, with the European team playing at home. Additionally, Germany, which defeated Israel, 3-1, on the road, will travel to Japan in September after the Japanese team overcame Great Britain. Japan will host that encounter. The other confirmed matchup is the United States, which eliminated Chinese Taipei, 4-0, against the Czech Republic, who also won convincingly against South Korea, 4-0. The American team will be the host for that clash. As for Spain, David Ferrer's squad will face one of the toughest teams, Denmark, led by Holger Rune. The Danes were the ones who eliminated Novak Djokovic's Serbia after a spectacular comeback. Despite losing the first 2 matches, the Nordic team turned the tie around thanks to victories in the doubles match by Johannes Ingildsson and Holger Rune against Miomir Kekmanovic and Hamad Medjedovic, Rune's singles win over Kekmanovic, and finally, Elmer Moller's win over Hamad Medjedovic in a match where he had to come back after losing the first set. The Spanish team, which could not count on its biggest star, Carlos Alcaraz, in the first round, fulfilled its role as favorites against Switzerland. Victories by Pedro Martinez over Dominic Stricker, 6-4, 7-6-7, and Roberto Carballes against Jerome Kim, 6-4, 6-4, all but sealed the tie. The decisive blow came on Sunday in the doubles match, where Pedro Martinez and Jaume Munar defeated Huesler and Stricker 6-4, 7-5. While Spanish tennis fans had their eyes on Biel, where Spain eliminated Switzerland to secure a place in the final Davis Cup qualifier, the ATP circuit turned its attention to Rotterdam. Alcaraz arrives in the Dutch city as the top seed of the tournament. After training with Medvedev, he now knows his first-round opponent, a familiar name for Spanish fans, Botic van de Zandschulp, who was granted a wild card by the tournament despite being ranked 84th in the world. The Dutchman is remembered as the player who defeated Rafa Nadal in the Spaniard's final professional match. "It's unimaginable. Something I still can't fully grasp," said van de Zandschulp in an interview with Ook Diario after beating Rafa in Malaga. The 1.91 meters tall Dutch player will remember how, in a single year, 2024, he defeated both Rafa in the Davis Cup and Alcaraz in the US Open and competed in the Netherlands' first and only Davis Cup final. "I didn't expect this. Beating them was already an achievement. I remember the match against Carlos was crazy. I played very well, and he couldn't perform at his best. It gave me a huge confidence boost for the next tournaments. That match even helped me a bit in the doubles against Spain because I had seen his game firsthand," he explained. Alcaraz's tough path in Rotterdam. Alcaraz's journey in Rotterdam will be challenging. If he gets past van de Zandschulp, he will face Felix Auger-Aliassime in the second round, an indoor specialist who reached the final in Montpellier this week. After that, he could meet Holger Rune in the quarterfinals and Rublev in the semifinals. Rotterdam is uncharted territory for the Mercian player, who is still seeking his first indoor title. He has dominated on clay and grass but still needs to improve his performances on fast and indoor courts, which are becoming the standard in most ATP tournaments and where Sinner, his main rival, excels. Novak Djokovic's future. Novak Djokovic's victory over Carlos Alcaraz in the quarterfinals of the 2025 Australian Open sparked endless debates about whether the Serbian player was faking his injury, something he had been accused of before, or if this time it was real. The speculation lasted 2 days until the semi-finals, when Djokovic had to withdraw after losing the first set to Alexander Zverev. Noel was indeed injured and even hinted at retirement. Beyond responding to critics, the photo Djokovic shared of his injury has sparked intense debates among tennis legends and sports medicine experts about his recovery and overall physical condition. At nearly 38 years old, he will reach that milestone in May. He is experiencing more injuries than ever before, and as expected, his recovery process is no longer as quick or as smooth as it once was. Throughout his career, Djokovic has been known for his extraordinary resilience, both mentally and physically, often recovering from injuries faster than expected and returning to the court in peak form. However, as he ages, the challenges associated with rehabilitation are becoming more apparent. In the past, he has overcome numerous physical setbacks, including knee issues, elbow surgeries, and muscle strains, but now, his body seems to be responding differently. The wear and tear accumulated over 2 decades of professional tennis, combined with the natural effects of aging, have led many to question whether his dominance in the sport is coming to an end. While Djokovic remains one of the greatest competitors in tennis history, even the most elite athletes must eventually confront their physical limitations. Some experts believe he may have to significantly alter his playing schedule, prioritizing fewer tournaments to extend his career. Others speculate that his current injury struggles could accelerate his decision to retire sooner than expected. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, because here at Tennis Zone, we are dedicated to bringing you the best content for the best audience. We offer in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and comprehensive coverage of everything related to the world of tennis. Join our community and be part of the excitement of the tournaments with us. Plus, at Tennis Zone, we strive to bring you high-quality and up-to-date content on players, tournaments, strategies, and the most relevant events in the tennis world.